I got sober with alcohol, and then after that, my eating disorder got out of hand, and I went to rehab for that, and I got well. Thank God. That was just awful. Oh my God. I don't want to judge or rate addictions. For me, the eating disorder was the most difficult because you have to have a.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Conversations with Shareka. My name is Shareka Swaby, also known as the Mind Reset Strategist. I am a certified life coach, published author, speaker, and the host of this show. Now, today's guest is quite a lady, right, with quite the story. She was a university professor. She was the program manager of the U.S. Army Europe Family Advocacy Program. She was the president of the European branch of American Counseling Association. And then she went from all of that to being a divorced, homeless mother on public assistance, right? But she didn't stop there, and that was not her final place. She moved from there to today she's a global speaker. She is a 2 times international best-selling author. She is a Mindshift and transformational coach. She's a licensed counselor, and she's helping women to take center stage in their lives. Today's guest is Dr. Lara Cobb. Dr. Cobb, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was, I really don't say after that. Thank you. Happy to be here.
You're welcome, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you. This is quite a resume, so I see that we have a lot to get through here, and I want to dive in as much as possible. But let's start at the beginning. Tell us about your childhood, where you grew up, were you rich, were you poor, what was that like?
Well, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and I wouldn't say I'm the youngest of four. Almost the quintessential redheaded stepchild almost, although I had braces, freckles, and glasses. And so I had 3 older siblings, a sister and 2 brothers. I was a lot of bullying, actually, in fact, because of that and other things that were going on. And I would say we were definitely not rich. My mother had her first, she had all 4 of us kids by the time she was 26. And I was a surprise, not an accident. But it was a beautiful thing because I loved the fact that I didn't know that we were on food stamps. Not that it was shameful or anything, but my mother knew she was going to get inundated with, where's the Cheetos or the Doritos instead of the generic brand. And always made us feel like, actually asked her once, I said, are we rich? She said, no. I didn't know that she would replace the milk, the powdered milk, and she'd have like one big container, and then she'd just take the generic and put it in the boxes or put the reconstituted milk and stuff. And I mean, it's unfortunate only to the extent that it could have been said, but we didn't know to make that all right at that time. But yeah, I stayed there for, we moved a couple times, but it wasn't too much. And then I graduated from high school after 18 years. But I just skipped about 18 years.
Sounds like a fun childhood. I love the fact that I guess she didn't want you guys to feel less than any other child, so she replaced that without you guys knowing, so you don't feel. That's really important. Mm-hmm. She didn't allow you guys to feel less than. She didn't allow you to feel poor, right, and so on. So I guess that is a good that was a good way to do it.
That was good. They did right by that. There's a lot my parents did right, and there's a lot that they did. Some things we all do the best that we can. Yeah, what we're given, and that's a beautiful thing about time between 30 years later. That I realized that we all talk about our childhood. You know, we all we can't help this from where we came. It's home, and that's where everything starts. That's where the foundation is laid, and that is where so much of the imprinting happens. And if the way that I really could resonate with that, what made sense to me, especially going to college, and I earned my Ph.D. in child development and family studies, which I love. And there's a lot of irony in that. You know, a little bit more about my story. And so that said, there's things that we'd love to change, and then realizing having 30 more years than I did at 18, 49 now, And like, wow, they really did the best that they could, because we're all just trying to get through this gig, but the day that we do. And I got 49 years in my past. I only had 5 or 7 or even 3 or 2 years in my past. So my life account with memories and such, I didn't have that to rely on. And so that's why the childhood is so important, because you don't have as much reference. You don't know what resilience is like. You don't know what it's like yet, and you build up to it. I mean, some things get granted, some things really deep happen to people when they're young, and that's unfortunate because you don't know what to do with it. But going through, as you're a teenager, for example, do you remember, okay, so let's say you're playing on the school ground, okay? If you had a school ground, and then you start to get, for example, maybe bullied or something, or someone calls you a name, and then you start to grow and you start to learn from that, and not that it's okay at all, or you just feel kind of awkward maybe, and then you're a girl, a teenager, a young woman, and you start to have these feelings of awkwardness around yourself, about other girls and boys and stuff, and then because of that, what you experienced earlier age, then you have a serious relationship maybe. And then sometimes there's trouble in the relationship, or it's difficult to talk because you just don't know the communication styles yet, because you didn't have as much to deal with, and your parents couldn't do it for you because they didn't know how either. So then you have to go through life, trying to navigate life and becoming the wilderness, not even just navigating it, trying to figure out how you feel in your skin. And so that's what it was like. And I think the main message is that, how did I get to today? It's based on what I did. And the beautiful thing, we all have the story, right? It's not necessarily about what I did. It's the things that I've done or things that I've achieved. It's about the meaning that I've made from it. And knowing that no matter what, because it's all just details. I can give you facts and accolades. It's what did I feel? How did I feel about those? So throughout college, I was on a progressive, relentless, insidious determination to earn every accolade or achievement I could, because I felt so low about myself. I didn't know how to fill myself up. So growing up, no, did I feel rich? Rich, and I knew what I knew. So, like, you grow up, and then, for example, you have a child, and you realize in those child eyes how it was like possibly you can put yourself in that framework of a 3-year-old, and you realize you're not talking to yourself that way anymore. You'd never talk to that 3-year-old child. Like, sometimes we talk about ourselves. And there comes a point between, I don't know, about 30 and 60, where the universe comes down and places her hands on your shoulder and whispers in your ear and says, I'm not looking around anymore. I'm not messing around. You're halfway to dead. You probably got more days behind you than you do in front. So get curious about your life and just throw yourself in it, because it's amazing. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Life is so good when you have that childlike curiosity about it. Oh, can't hear you. I cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm muted to avoid background noises. It can get noisy where I'm at.
Sure.
Was college difficult or challenging for you?
Yeah. I was really good at it, and I stayed that way. So I alluded to, how much more can I do? And I lost, oh gosh, well to summarize, 12 years after I started the very first day of college, I was on a relentless and determination to achieve everything that I could, because I was really good at school. Yeah, I was good at school, not life. And it was no question. So I didn't know what else to do with my life after for graduate undergrad. So I'll just go on to master's and Ph.D. because that's kind of where I can stay a childlike, because I don't have to go out into the world. So I say small and university, I think I'll earn another degree.
Right.
There's another certificate to earn, or whatever it is. And to stay in the, so that's the thing, you get your mind set on something. This is the key thing, as a mind shift, a mindset. I don't like mind shift, I like mind shift, because I'm going to do it. And you can get on that roller coaster of, I have to more of the same, especially if you're good at it. So then 12 years after I started my first day of college, I was shaking the hand to the dean, and she said, "Congratulations, Dr. Cobb." And I looked over my shoulder. I was like, "What?" Oh my God. So 12 years of all that work. I mean, I don't know. I can hear your child. And how old is your child, if I may ask?
He's
Six. Okay. So imagine that 6 and plus another 6 years of his life. That's school. Staying small. So it was not necessarily fun or not fun. I just didn't know any different. And then continued to move in that. Oh well, I get married, but he's an officer in the military. He's active duty. Oh, he's going to move over in Germany. Yeah, I'll come along. So I think I'll start another degree. What? So, but that, and then there's like nowhere else to go, right? I got to get a job. So work for as a contractor for the U.S. Army. I'm living in Germany now. This is starting from 01 to 09. And, because I can't, I moved there the last year of writing my dissertation. I'm like, there's no way I can write for 8 hours a day writing this sucker. And I'm like, there's no way. So we go to Germany. I'm taking I gotta just take an extra year, but I'll learn another degree while I'm at it. What's the matter with you? Come on, man. So the age difference, and I didn't have anything real, and I didn't fit in with the other spouses because I was older, the age for them. My ex-husband, he's a little older than me, and they had kids, and they were at home wives or spouses, and we didn't have kids. And I kept my name, and I wanted a job, I wanted to work, and I didn't, so I had to work. I had to find some identity. I had to continue on because my whole world was bound and tightly wound up around my education because of the achievement. Because I felt so small inside that I had to. It's like an external validation junkie with an inferiority complex.
Do you know when or where you developed that not enoughness? How did that develop?
Because when I was young and my siblings bullied me incessantly, viciously, my mom says now, my sister, that I didn't feel seen. And I asked them, could you have it stop? And they said, well, essentially, we weren't around, we didn't see it happen, so we can't do anything about it because there's no proof. The good thing about that, though, is how was my childhood. In third grade, I failed listening the entire year. I got 3 minuses. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yes, I did. Yes, I swear I did. And so this be transparent, right? There's a reason for it, and there's quite logical. So I'm at home, and I don't have a voice because my siblings, just my sister and my brother. My oldest brother, he was kind of gawky and awkward, so he decided to go live with our father because he didn't want to deal with my brother, my other brother, and my sister, because they were bullying him. Well, when he left, I got it. So, yeah. And I wanted to be heard. My parents wouldn't, this is all. See, if you can get to a point where someone okay, listen to what I'm going to say, and then imagine when someone cuts you off mid-sentence with everything I'm going to say. Something as simple as that. Like, how many times can you count today? How many times even I interrupted you on accident? It's still, for an example, this is going to show you how significant our childhood is. I'm saying that possibly about what you might be feeling, and I know what's going to come up. I know what my story is and how I can, in a moment that happens, how I get triggered. Now I can revert back to exactly where I felt like this. Okay? So the 3/4 of the third grade go by, and my parents tell me, if you fail listening again, because it was like ABC, but it was 1, 2, 3s and pluses and minuses, 3 minus for 3/4. So my parents warn me, and they know something's going to happen. I don't know what. By that time, they put down the belt because they were done with that. Yeah. So it wasn't bad. Not bad. I mean, oh God. Let's just say they didn't leave a mark. Although I remember it very clearly, very, very clearly. And I remember the last time that I got hit. My mom took, it doesn't matter, trigger. And we laughed, actually. This is not working for you. Anyway, so I fail it again. I get my report card the last day. And I stay after school, waiting for my teacher and everybody else to leave. And I go in her desk and I take out the correction fluid, the white out. And I change the 3 minus to a 1. I think it might have been a little easier for it too, but So I go home and I give my parents' report card. And I lay there at night in my bed, and just so happy that my parents knew that they had this reformed girl. And then a week later, I lay in that same bed, sobbing, my throat raw from having drunk liquid dishwashing soap because I lied. They found out. knowing that had to spend the next 3 months in my bedroom without speaking to anyone, and I could come out safe for bathroom and meals. I mean, it could be spoken to and such, but there's no playing outside. So I told my friend, and she told her friend, and her friend just happened to be best friends with my sister. So my sister took great. I don't know if this is true. She never said this, but I would imagine. The story I tell myself is my sister took great pride. But I don't know. She did. That never happened. That's the story that I tell myself. I'm aware enough to know that I'm not putting anything against her because of the other bullying that happened. So, yeah. And so then I think about, I just want to be heard because I was bullied and no one would hear me. So school was respite. School is a safe place, and I wanted to hear other people's stories. I wanted to talk with the other kids. I wasn't interested in what the teacher had to say. She may have been very well silent since she was growing up, and she might have been mad at me for wanting to talk to the other kids because I wanted to hear their story, because I wanted to know what their lives were like. So I failed listening, but did I really lose? Did I really fail anything? Because I think the creativity or lack thereof, especially in our younger grades, is that we stifle what we learn in kindergarten, which is keeps hands to self, works well with others, and then everything's placed on a sheet of paper. Sure, reading, writing, and arithmetic, all very important. But I'll tell you, I don't know any algebraic equations at this moment. I don't know how to balance a checkbook. I never did. So my point is that what do we do? And this all comes full circle. So can you understand what I said before? Possibly that when someone interrupts me, because I'm dying for my voice to be heard and someone to actually notice that I'm there. Like when your children walk into the room, do your eyes light up? My son's not here, but if your child's there, just look into their eyes and just, that's what I wanted, and I didn't get it at home. So I failed listening according to whose standards? In school, a building, which teaches us an education, which is dictated and determined by those who have the power, which are usually white men or thereof, for how long? So what am I learning? I'm gaining knowledge. I'm learning things that I'm told to learn that's important. And some people don't even have the ability because they're not allowed to learn to read or write because they're stifled. Their voices are shut down for centuries, not just a day, not just a couple months. So then when you have an education, you learn that knowledge based on what somebody else says is important. You stifle off that creativity. What if, hypothetically, we were to encourage more creativity and work on being able to how to deal with a conflict with your lover, how to talk to your children with compassion and empathy, knowing what they're going through. Now I understand what it's like to only have 3 years or 6 years as your child bank account, their life account. So you might know that it's going to be better, it's going to be okay, but they don't know that. And that 6 minutes up against the wall with timeout, you even move a muscle, it starts over, and you got to be diligent about it. Knowing that that's forever. Oh my God, are you kidding me? You got to sit there at the wall. You look at it, nope, start over. So anyway, that might allude to, some of the values in which I grew up and why college was so important to me and how I was good at it and now having a voice about it.
So, so I completely, I completely get where that not enoughness came from, because you weren't seen, you weren't heard, nobody cared, nobody loved, nobody appreciated. So I understand that completely.
How? Tell me how. How do you know that?
How do I understand?
How do you understand? Tell me.
Because I've been to the not enough place. I've had the not enough feeling. I have I've felt it, have lived it. So I understand how you would get to that place. It didn't cause me to do what you did, though.
You did? Wait, am I telling your story?
No, it didn't cause me to do what you did. I became more of a shy, reserved, introverted, lack of confidence. That's what it made me. But for you used it as a desire. You were trying to find what you lacked outside of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, mic drop. That was it. You did it.
Yeah. So, but at what point during all of this education did you before I ask you that question, when did you get married? That's a whole story. Technically, I got married June 1st, 2001. I got married when I was in my
last year, I was in my final year of writing my dissertation. It was the last year of my doctorate. So I moved over. I got married in the summer, moved over to Germany in the summer, and I still had a year left of Purdue with my doctorate, and then I started a second master's for the University of Maryland in counseling and personal services. I can't hear you. And then it was only until about 2 years later did I I became familiar with, because I still had those academic roots. It was like, oh, it's a counseling association, and they're affiliated with academia. They're very specific organizations and associations that are rigorous academically. And so then, that was about, I want to say 2003, I believe. Yeah. So I'd already been living in Germany for 2 years. I loved it. Oh my God, I loved Europe so much. Oh, I miss it so much. Anybody want to go to Germany? Let's go.
So how did you, okay, so you now have a doctorate, right? You have all this.
And a second master's. And a second master's, because I don't know what else to do with my life. Because I feel like a loser.
And so, I had a guest on my show who had a doctorate, and he was still feeling not enough, right?
I know. Mm-hmm. He's amazing. That was an awesome episode. For people who were watching or watched the replay, check out that one. That was so good.
Yeah. So he had a doctorate, but he was still afraid of people. Like he said, if he walked in a crowd of people, he would faint, right? And he had all of the accolades to make him feel worthy, but he still wasn't feeling enough. And that's basically what you were going through. So you kept earning degrees after degrees after degrees, and then doctorate, and you're still not there.
The thing about it, I'm an external validation junkie with an inferiority complex. So I craved, it was my drug. Another degree, another certificate, another paper down, another, and then that continued. I was a human doing. I was not a human being. I could not sit still for a moment. I couldn't be with me. I need to fill every moment with something. So I did, because when it got quiet, the silence was never quiet.
Let me ask you a question. Whenever you got to the end of these journeys that you went on, and you have this accomplishment, how long did the satisfaction of that last for?
Great question. That was a good question. It was different. So when I walked across the stage, when the dean said, "Congratulations, Dr. Hey, hello, Jonathan," and she said, "Congratulations, Dr. Cobb," I took about 15 seconds across the stage, and when I sat down on the 16th second, I was like, "I did it!" And then I looked around like, "That's it? Where's the parade? Where's the balloons and the clowns? There's nothing here." I thought, and I wasn't like that. It wasn't like send in the clowns, it was more like, wow, a letdown. Like I did that for 12 years. I mean, it was over a course of time. It wasn't really in that moment that it hit me, but over the span of, I can't give you a date. I just know that this is the thing. Yeah. There's so much that's not said regarding just this time. It wasn't just wasn't addicted to school. I was addicted to everything. Everything. School was just a cover.
So
I really mean that. I really want that to sit. School is a cover. What goes when kids are growing up and they get reprimanded or something, like they act up in school? What's the matter with you? Wait. What's happening to you? What's happened to you?
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So it's not about the accolades. See, that's the thing. It's so not. Everybody's got a story. You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
That's
or
true.
Within these doors, the skin.
Okay.
Okay, just take a moment.
So now you have all these accolades. You have a doctorate. You're going for a second master's. What happened? What led to the divorce and the homelessness and being a mom? What happened with all of that?
Well, I stayed in Europe until 2009, and by that time, with the counseling association, I've been president a couple of times, and you manage a continent and bring people over from the States, and it's just that's not virtual at all. Nothing's virtual like this. It's like literally on the ground organizing. And he's deployed twice to Iraq, each time for a year. See, the thing about it is, it hasn't been said yet. It's just going to be a trigger warning because this hasn't been, oh my God, Nina's here. I'm so, Nina, I love you so much. Okay, you just came. I'm about to get to hugs. She's the best thing. Haven't we been talking about her? She's like the best ever. Nina, can I get a little heart? Give me some courage. Give me some courage, Nina. I need you. Can you invite her in? Can you invite her on, please? Oh, that'd be so, it would give me comfort. Could you invite her up to stage? Yeah, it would give me such great comfort. Could you please? Thank you.
Okay.
Oh my God, I love you. My God, this is like,
Nina, I'm inviting you on so that you can provide Dr. Lara with some moral support.
This is a spiritual moment. I'm telling you. Oh my God, this is a spiritual moment. Holy Mother. I love you.
Hi, Nina.
Hi. Okay.
Okay, Dr. Lara. Nina is here. You have the strength you need.
The entire time. Okay, God, I love you. And I don't know why. You've been in my thoughts so much these past days, weeks. Actually, you have, really. And we haven't even talked in weeks. A couple months, maybe months. I adore you. Your story's amazing. I need you in my life. For about 25 years, from about, I should say, by the time that I would say good 20, no, oh God. Always had issues with food and weight, only to the extent that I was fat and ugly for years. And my sister, who was the cheerleading queen, captain, and oh my God, I mean, I'm going to cry, prom queen and such. And even the very first college party I ever went to, oh, you're Jenny Cobb's little sister. I went to a totally different university than my siblings. I mean, I had the fortune to go to university, so I beg your pardon. That said, I could never get under it. I could never get out of the shadow. And so school, again, this is all full circle. School, see, this is the thing, about families, how all these individual stories and how now that they start to intertwine together, you cannot separate the intricacies of families and how there are stories that carry us forward. And from where we come from, that's how our story is a trajectory. So at where I'm at right now, the school, the family, the child, losing my son out of custody because I was too drunk, that didn't even come up yet. Comes back to my sister and my family, all right, fat and ugly. That stays with me and stays with me and stays with me. And there's only control and power in my life because I was out of control. I didn't know what to do. And food was the one thing. Nobody else's grade on a paper or determine what I'm going to get a degree. Never say no in a relationship, meaning a kiss, sex, whatever it is, getting married. Somebody else can actually have a participant in that. I choose what I do, except for losing myself, the only way I know how to cope. So food was a huge issue for 20 years. I was about 5 pounds from death, starving to be seen. So after a couple interventions, the first with alcohol and the second because I was sober, the one thing I could always count on in my life was Anna, because what was her name? And she was always with me. And it wasn't even like a day or a week. It was not even a minute. It was a moment, a breath. It was a moment. She was always with me. And because that's the one thing I could control. So thank God my son, there's so many freaking stories here, really. And my son, he was only born with in vitro. There was a whole process of trying to get pregnant because, again, it was woven into my experiences with an eating disorder. And then the fertility issues, and then how do I get pregnant with a partner, and then my ex-husband's, our stuff, his stuff and my stuff and our stuff. So and then, it's so fascinating that we could think that something that someone says about one day in their life or experience that they're going through, how much every single minute of our past has led to this moment. So for whoever's watching this, I want you to know that it's not even, I can't give you I could look up the numbers because I've said it before. I'm not going to bore you with the numbers. But the thing about it is, imagine this. I'll give you a story, a quick one. The fact that you are here, listening to these words in this very second, having this very breath right now, the miracle that is, I'll give you an example, an analogy. Imagine that there is one seal, like in the water, a seal, in the entire world. Noticing how many number of seals there are, if relative, and how big the entire globe is. That one seal. you are placed, let's say, anywhere in the entire world. I want you to think about one place that you think of where you might be in the world. Just imagine that. Okay, imagine that. And then that seal is somewhere else in the entire, on the globe in some way, just whatever random place you think of. Okay. The possibility of that seal, the possibility of you throwing into wherever, you could be on top of a mountain, wherever you are right there, you could be in your bedroom, you could be in a gutter, you could be on a ship liner, you could be on a cruise ship, you could be at the Mount Everest, wherever it was that you said we're going to be, that you have this life vest on. And you throw it out wherever you're at. Don't move. Now, wherever you're at. Now, imagine where that seal is at. Wherever it is. It could be on the shoreline. It doesn't matter. It could be, it could have lost its way and gone up in Mount Everest with you. I don't care where it's at. Right? And the possibility, the likelihood of that seal, in the moment when that life vest lands on the ground that you threw wherever you were, and coming up into the center of it at the exact same moment, that's the likelihood of you being here. How do you think one throw is going to last you? Wherever you are in the world and wherever that seal's at, even if that seal were standing right next to you, you have no control over wind. You have no control whether or not that seal's going to come up and bite your arm and not even be able to get the life vest. You see what I'm saying? You have no idea if there's a tornado or a hurricane, and so it doesn't go anywhere. It hits you back in the head. You see what I'm saying? There's no way that we can fathom the significance that each one of us makes. Never, never underestimate the magnificence of your significance. You matter.
Beautifully said, and I agree with you 100%. I always love it when I have guests on here and they align with me so wonderfully.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, I didn't even start with that. Okay, there's that. Oh, keep going. I got it.
Yeah.
See, yay! Yay!
Yeah. So I have the same belief. I believe that we all do matter and we all have a role to play, and that role should not be it should not be ignored, and it should not be cast aside. We should step up and play the role that we have to play. A lot of us feel it in our hearts, and we're allowing fear.
We don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because our parents, two sickies don't make a wellie.
Yeah. But it sounds like you were dealing with a lot of things, covering up. Let me not say you were dealing with a lot of things. You were covering up a lot of things with school.
Good, nice reframe there. Look at that. Look what I have. I have 444. Isn't that beautiful? What? I love when numbers align like that.
Yeah, that's
when I called you, it was 333.
Oh.
And I got anyway. Yeah.
Okay. So angels are speaking to you, Dr. Laura. You need to figure out what's going on there.
I'm trying. Maybe they need to tell me. I got myself in the place that I am because I tried to figure it out, and that didn't work.
So what I mean is listen and see what they're trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I know.
so you were dealing with a number of issues, and you have a child through in vitro, and that was quite a struggle. But what happened next?
Well, you're a good listener. I can't imagine what it must be like for someone who doesn't talk in an interview, and it's like, yes, I know, and I think it must be really a lot of work. Just pulling up. Yeah, don't answer that question. Well, when I got my son, picture. I get a picture of him. Such a blessing, and I couldn't buy into the pregnancy, and no one even really knew that I was pregnant. I think I gained 12 pounds when I was pregnant, and nobody knew until I was like 8 months because I wouldn't gain any weight. And so yeah, I'm grateful because he was a little like it's like 2 weeks early, but I couldn't. I knew what I'd already done to my body. I couldn't exercise anymore because it wasn't just the food; it was the 5 hours of exercise that was in alignment with well, at that point, maybe 3 hours. Oh, by the way, I was a personal trainer and really successful in it, and did some figure competitions, of which I have pictures of my photo shoot. I was probably one of the sickest times I ever was, and I looked as healthy. I'll show you the picture. The thing about it is that's so sick about the culture, is that people look at the pictures. Oh my God, you're amazing, and I was so sick there, unbelievably sick. I mean, it wasn't just exercising, it was starving and hurting, everything. You could, everything. Anyway, so that was still going on the whole time, every day, the whole time. And I couldn't buy into the pregnancy until about that 8-month period because I was afraid that I would miscarry again. I did it 13 weeks, which is devastating. And my sister, this is just for no reason, not to blame, she had just had a child, like maybe a year prior. And this was before Ryan, before my son. This is like in 3 or 4 years prior. And I'm at my brother's wedding. And the day before, I'm told I have to have a D&C, which is an abortion because I miscarried. And then the next day, the trauma of that and having miscarried prior, of asking to take care of a child, because a 1-year-old, because thought maybe it would feel better. It would make me feel better. I mean, I don't understand how that works. If I had just had a miscarriage the day before, and then placing an infant in my hand, saying that I thought it would make you feel better. So then how do you cope with that? So right now, what you're seeing right now, I'm right there. So what children don't know how to do is they don't know how to deal with this. And adults who don't know that they can stay in this place with however many, couple people, 10, 20, 30, 50, I don't care how many, that can sit within this and the trauma that people go through. And they never get this stuff out. Because I know for me right now, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to be okay. Because I'm feeling everything without hiding behind it. And I don't have to sob on my own. Because it can't survive in the light. Because right now, someone is hearing this. And they may have felt the same thing, or have witnessed somebody feel the same thing, or you can just, not even having had to experience the same thing, just the feelings about something lost. Any grief at all, ever. You don't have to have a miscarriage to feel this way, or whatever lost is. Just, because this is the thing about empathy. You don't have to walk a mile in another person's shoes right now. You don't have to have the same experience I've had. But what you can do is you can go in the back of your hands, in your heart. I know, gosh, that sucked. That really was hard, and it's still something. See, right now, you see how it's passing? Do you see how it's passing? I'm not holding this on for weeks and months and years to move into it and say, you know, this is so fucking hard right now. And there's a wave. Sometimes it goes deeper. And then right there, it's sunny out. It's sunny out. It's a sunny day. And knowing that I know that I'm going to feel this way again, I don't fear it. I don't wait for it. It's just going to happen. And now that, again, right there is another example of resilience, that I can get through anything, because sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will always hurt me, only unless I allow them to. And if I shy away from my words, if I prevent myself from being heard, and if I ever let anyone stifle my voice again, then this can't happen. And that means I'm shut down. And that means nobody else can go through transformation and be inspired by seeing somebody not even fall apart, to go through it. You too can go through this, right? I mean, like, who the fuck? 3 minutes ago, I would not have been laughing. But see, that's the thing. We're not alone. And if we can just be real with each other and just show up for each other, there's a lot of vulnerability in that. And I'll tell you, now here it comes again, because I'm feeling it again. How connected then can you feel more to yourself? Forget everybody else. Forget fitting in. Because fitting in, there's a difference between that and belonging. Belonging is, you let me be me around you. I mean, you let me. I feel comfortable about being me when you're around. How about that? I feel good about me watching you, letting you watch me be me. And I'm good about it. Like, I'm so good with myself. Like Oprah, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so good with me right now. I just wanted to share this with you. But then there's a fitting in. You let me see you being you, and you don't give a rat's ass if I'm there or not. Or, I don't feel good about me being me when you're around. I'd rather belong. Would I rather feel okay with me being in the skin? And that's when it sounds like I can hold silence now in my mind. I can, like, when the silence, it is quiet today. Like I said before, it was never quiet. It was never quiet. I couldn't sit still. To have this conversation with you, this would have been gone. This would have been over in 2 minutes. And so to sit with all of the stuff that you've given me, the opportunity to express and emote and possibly have some type of letting others know that they're not alone. I don't care if you're male or female. Black or white. We're together, baby. What?
I just want to say, I love you for having the courage to come here and share your story. And that's exactly what this show is about. That's why it's here. That's why it exists. Because I feel like the rest of us who are feeling some way similar to your story, or maybe they're feeling something maybe they can relate to Nina's story, or they can relate to someone else's story, and they can see, oh my God, I do not have to stay here. You know, there is recovery, there is better, I can still.
Oh my God, life is so good today.
Yeah. So that's why we're here, Doc. That's why I'm here, and that's why I wanted you here, because I heard your story once, and I know that it can touch somebody, because a lot of the things that we go through, somebody out there goes through something similar.
And that's the thing, it's about the meaning associated with it. Yes, we hear these unbelievable horror stories of trauma and just woundedness, and that's the thing, we can still be wounded. This is what I want to convey, is that you don't have to be cut with a knife when the words go so much further deep. You don't have to have blood. No, you don't have to have blood shed externally to know that you're bleeding. Your heart is bleeding out. Mm-hmm. You can do everything that you wanted to do, and everything that you've been expected to. And I get granted, you might not have the choice, and I get that. That wasn't my experience. Is that I had the choice, and it still wasn't enough. Never underestimate that if you leave your car door open overnight, that you may have given someone a bed to sleep in. I might not have had my teeth pulled out or my head shaved or whatever it is, or have just scars all over me to know what it feels like and what it's like to get through. The words that take me down, they ain't gonna take you down.
The thing is, I think what could sum up what you said is, every single one of us have a story.
What?
Every one of us. It might be written with different words, as different adjectives, and so on, but we all have a story, and there is something in that story that can give power to somebody else. So we're running out of time, and there is so much for us to cover. I want you to, if you are able, you could tell us a little bit about. So you were pregnant, and now your baby is born. What happened next after that? What happened after that?
I'm back in I moved back into my parents' basement, which is where my bedroom was growing up. So you see how the regression goes? Yeah, I moved back into the household. When my ex-husband, from the military, he was older, so he was ready to retire. So from the day that my son was born, I stopped working with the government and military. I was in Germany still as a spouse, although I was still training a couple clients with personal fitness, but that was just like 5 or 6 a week. And then for the 3 months of the summer of 2001, this was before September 11th, to give you reference. It was the summer before September 11th. And so I had my son, and we moved back to the States, but by that September 11th, I was in the States, and he stayed in Germany. I brought my son back to the States for my sister's second wedding. And by that time, we had decided to move back to the States because he was retiring. We moved into my parents' house in the basement. So everything that happened growing up, it felt like I had regressed back into my childlike self, and I had no worker identity. I wasn't working anymore. And I wasn't training any clients because I wasn't in Germany anymore. I lost my clientele. So then I'm at home with a child. Now granted, okay, this is the irony. I earned a Ph.D. in child development and family studies. I'd never changed a diaper before in my life. I'm not kidding. Yeah, I know, right? Wait for it. Go ahead, left. And I wasn't producing milk because I was still so thin. I didn't have the fat stores for it. And we're gonna do this natural, baby. It's all gonna be breastfeed. No. So I don't have my work to stimulate my identity, right? And I'm fulfilling my education. I'm doing my whole degree thing. But see, this is the thing. I wrote my doctoral dissertation on stay-at-home dads. This is so because I was wrapped up in work identity, and I thought there's a lot to. I love the topic for sure, and I love the men I got to interview. Oh my God, they were so fascinating. They let me. These are dads who are at home with their wives who are earning income for the family. Like they made a choice. Right. This is my doctoral dissertation was on the subjective experiences of Adam dads. There's all yeah. You write that down. Um, but so I have my work identity, which was completely tied up with my research at school. I'm working for the government. My ex-husband retires. Moved back to the States. I have a 3-month-old, and I'm in the basement of my parents' house, feeling like I'm 15, but now I have all these responsibilities, and I don't know how to live life at all because I'm always relying on like something structured, like the military is going to tell me stuff and the academia. And I completely implode, and the drinking takes over, and my eating disorder is just out of control. And for a good couple of years, I'd say my family put up with a lot. I went to rehab a few times. I went to inpatient once. And by the time 2015, late 2014 came around, my ex-husband, this time I was working at a local gym. I was teaching courses, like classes in yoga, cycling, spin, and then I was training clients, water classes, and I was also teaching for the University of Maryland, online, part-time. So, and then I had my son. But by that time, it was completely out of hand. And my ex-husband now said, I want a divorce. And so shortly thereafter, I conceded custody of my son. I knew I couldn't do it. I needed to get well. That was a second rehab too. I got sober with alcohol. And then after that, my eating disorder got out of hand, and I went to rehab for that, and I got well, thank God. That was just awful. Oh my God. I don't want to judge or rate addictions. For me, the eating disorder was the most difficult because you have to have a relationship with food. And I could control whether or not I drank. This like literally a liquid, I can't buy it or whatever it is. I have to have this dance. And for 20 years, she was my best friend ever. I would organize my days around her. God. I called her Anna. But she shows up sometimes, like before, like when I was in my shame shitstorm right there, excuse me, she was right there going, ha ha, that's you. And I'm like, girl, bitch, you weren't even invited, bitch. Get the fuck, what? And so I know she's going to show up. So I have like a chair over there. I use a chair. There's a chair for you. And I know she's going to come and she's going to say you're nothing. They're going to make fun of you. It's all, think about it when you have that fear some people have before they speak. And, it's like, it's not FOMO. It's FOPO. Fear of other people's opinions. It's not you have a fear of public speaking. That's not it. That's just a manifestation of where you're at when it happens. It's fear of other people's opinions. Now, athletes, they take that adrenaline because it's all the same chemical that runs through our body. They use that to their advantage, and that's what spurs them on. So when you're going to get on stage or whatever, or just make an ass out of yourself and just go on. It doesn't matter. But the thing about that is after all that, so I don't know where to go, and I don't have a place to live, so I'm on the streets in Chicago, homeless. But then everything shifted. I remember sitting outside of one of the shelters that night, outside of a church, hoping that I was in line far enough in front that I'd get a pad, a place to sleep that night. It was great. Chicago winters are tough. I don't know if anybody out there, you got the cold Chicago, or even further north, more so. But get a hot meal and then a pad. You got to be careful. You got to sleep on your shoes, maybe, or your purse, or your head. So, but that said, then you get a warm breakfast and then you get a sack lunch. And then the tough part was like having left in 2 consecutive narcissistic abusive relationships. After my divorce was over, I didn't have custody of my son, and then 2 consecutive relationships that are narcissistic. So then finally, today, let's put it this way. I have the honor, Carter, of being able to care for my special needs cat. Now it sounds kind of, the thing about it though is that having been, he's FIV and he can't be around other cats, so his teeth are falling out because he doesn't have any immune system. Being felt like I didn't have the ability to care for myself. Now he and I, in a place where I live, it's mine. See, I don't need a big mansion, and I was on this trajectory to have this huge cash flow. I'm happier now because I don't think about the stuff that I used to think about then, today. And I'm able to look in the eyes, and if you can possibly raise your hand up when someone's kneeling down, and if they ask you for help, be of service. That's the number one thing that I can convey, is that when you can get out of self and be available for others, and then also, more importantly, to ask for that help when you need it. Because I'll be damned if I never asked for help. I would not allow that person to feel that joy. Just like I know that every person who's watching this for you right now, Shareka, they're going to ask you for help. And they're going to humble themselves enough to say, wow, I can give that to you. Because of everything that you give to us, lady, sister from another mother. Shareka, you deserve this, okay? You are providing this opportunity for so many people to learn about themselves through you. I'm just a prop. You're a vessel. I'm just an opportunity to let you shine, to get to see you shine again. Thank you for allowing me to talk with you.
I don't see it that way. I see you. You're not just anything. You are Dr. Laura Cobb, or just Laura Cobb,
look
or
in the mirror.
Whatever you are. You're not just anything. You are Laura Cobb. You've been through tremendous struggle.
Kitty, you're amazing. Thank you. You're amazing as well.
You're welcome.
I received that. Thank you so much. And you know what? What I love about you is I can see my face in the bottom here. But I'm looking at you. Like I'm looking at you, and what I see is comfort and warmth and empathy and compassion and beauty embodied from something that I probably don't know, but you might know where that beauty comes from. I think you already know. You have it already.
Yeah, I think that beauty comes from the connection with God, the divine, or universe, or whatever people want to call it. Because I want to share something with you. For the most of my childhood, and for a good part of my adult years, people would say to me, "You're pretty," and I could never see that. For a long time, I could never see that. And today, I can smile at myself in the mirror, and I can say, "Oh, Shareka, I love you. Oh, Shareka, you're so beautiful." It gives me so much joy to be able to say that. But it's a journey that we all go on, and that's why I say, don't say you are just anything, because you are absolutely amazing and divine, and you're here for a purpose. Your story now, I'm sure, is going to help somebody else to say, okay, this is where I'm at, but this is where I do not have to stay.
Oh my God, better. Say that again. That's a mic drop. Repeat. This is where I'm at, but this is not where I have to stay.
Yeah.
Can I get a hello from the audience? Oh my gosh.
Wow. All right. How long, let me ask you, because we're running out of time. How long were you homeless for?
About a year. Yeah, a little over a year. But see, the thing about the shelter, what time is it? Yeah, we're late. Yeah, about a year. No details.
And I want to get the best questions out of what I have here.
You're good.
Okay, so you already told us what that was like and so on. How did you move from being at that place to coming back, starting to come back? What happened? What brought on that shift?
The last day that I stayed in the hotel after the shelters closed, April 30th, so it was the first week of May. Was it 5 years ago? I left the hotel because I didn't know where to stay that night. I ran out of money, and I was at a bus stop. And the very first person I met on the very first bus was a person who I stayed with, I still have contact with, who eventually became my very short-lived second husband, now ex-husband, that's like less than 6 months married. And it was a very abusive, narcissistic relationship. And I was able to bring him to court June 2nd. 2020, after having been through the court system again, the first time when I asked for a claim to leave, he had to leave the house. His name was not on the. He wouldn't pay any money. I paid everything, and the cops wouldn't take him out. He was just so every single night they were there at the house. Just this narcissistic, abusive. You mother piece of. How could you? You f. I mean, and I have recording of it. Great. And that those 2 years, the last 6 months of it, it was going to the court and asking for oral protection. No, even though I had the recordings. No, did he stay there last night? Yeah. Does he pay the rent? No. Does he get any bills? He gets 1 bill a month. Does he get clothes there? Yeah. Well, he'll be homeless. We have a pandemic now. We can't kick him out. So I do that for another few months, and then finally, the morning of June 2nd, after the police finally said, I spent already time in jail because I kicked the cop, and we told him, you got to stay in the bedroom. You're going to tell he's got to stay in the bedroom? Are you kidding me? I mean, they're not here, and the police tell me, we're here to enforce the law, man. We don't make the law. And it's he said, she said. Now, granted, this is the pandemic, and I only learned a year later. You ever heard of the shadow pandemic? Do you have any idea? And now I know why the numbers of suicides and homicides and domestic violence numbers increased with the pandemic because of what was going on. People are forced in their home. They might lose their job. Now they're at home. They might have their job and have to work from home while they're home. And oh, by the way, we got how many kids? And but not only that, the person who I don't usually spend time with is either at home or they're at work or whatever. I'm now responsible for the kids and the teaching. Are you kidding me? Can you talk about a pressure cooker? I mean, no wonder people talk about domestic violence during that time, the shadow pandemic. But all the stress and the anxiety, and people talk about this mental health. For Simone Biles last year, no wonder. Mental health is so needed right now, and with their services available. So after about that year later, I moved about the town over. I got my own place, and today I'm in the second condo that I purchased outright on my own. I owe the bank nothing. This place is mine. Mine. Why? Because I want to know exactly where I'm going to hold my head tonight. I don't got to worry about asking for nothing like that. I got food in the cupboard. Sure, I got steak here, and it's great because you know what? Right now, I'm so happy. I wake up in the morning. I say, "Good morning, God," not "Good God morning." It sucked.
Yeah.
Today, I hear the birds, and I'm like, "Shut up, birds!" No, I'm like, "Hey, bird, what up?" Thanks for waking me up. Before it was like, "Shut up." Not today. It's like, way to go. I love it.
Yeah, that's an amazing difference.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's really amazing.
People are probably like, "Oh my God, she's pessimistic and she hates life." When I was before, like a half hour, like I've been through that. I can go there and remember what it was like and not stay there because you know what? Life is so freaking good today. It's amazing. It really is.
I love the fact, and see that again. That's why we're here, because your story, according to society, should have been a story where you're still. Yeah. You're either on a mental ward or you're on the side of the street or something, but you're here,
right?
And that's why we're here. I want to show people that you're here. People like you are here on the show, doing a live, buying an apartment, and
I have a life today, man. You know what? Sorry.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I just interrupted you. I'm sorry. I just interrupted you. Oh.
No, you're fine. You're fine. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from being homeless?
That I received a lot of validation because I really have a problem with people who make assumptions about the color of someone's skin, and then they put individuals in categories because of stuff, and they've never witnessed it or anything like that. And I loved it because in the department, the apartment complex I lived in, when I was stuck outside, he wouldn't open the door, and I was literally locked. I didn't know where I was going to go. I don't know exactly. I don't know if they were Pakistani or Afghanistan, or I'm not quite sure. But they lived on the third floor with their kids, and they brought me in, and all this freaking. And I already knew, but all the freaking stereotypes, and then the narcissist had to tell you something. You're like, you didn't start questioning yourself, like, wait, what? And and I just loved seeing the kindness of people who they had nothing invested. I remember the night that the cops came to get his truck out of the forest, where we went into unidentified farm field. And it was very close to where my husband and I had used to live in a townhouse after we moved out of my parents' house with my son. And I was at like a undisclosed road, and having locked me out of the van in like January in Chicago, I had nowhere to go, and I ran to the house across the street, and it just happened to be the park forest ranger, who was an unidentified house, and you'd never ever in a million years think that that was a unidentified forest preserve, and that the park ranger lived across the street and he was responsible for it. And when I get slammed and I get abandoned in the freezing cold January, and just having done things that I would not ever expect or want anyone to do, and then the first place I go to, and then they pull his car out, and he's stuck in the field. And this is kind of like vengeance in a way, and I own this. But they just had to take his vehicle. Now you know what it's like every time you denigrate me and say that I'm nothing because I don't drive, that I need you because you have a vehicle. How do you like it now? And so there's still that part of me that holds on to that, like, you know, F you in your face. At the same time, that there's still people like that family who took me in, and the park ranger, and the person when they caught me in the backseat of their car when I was trying to sleep overnight didn't get me arrested. Didn't denigrate me either. See, I did believe that everybody's just doing the best that they can every day. I really do. I really do. And I refuse to say, you know, yeah, there are people who are going to like, get you. But do I want to walk around at the end of my life saying, my ass twitches? These people make my ass twitch. I don't want to live that way, man. I don't want to live that way. Do you?
Yeah. No, I don't.
You choose it. It's not fun. I don't want to be in that place. I know what it's like to feel sucky. I mean, we're either mad, glad, or sad. That's very sad if we can only identify 3 emotions. I'm a big advocate of Brene Brown, by the way. Just identify with, I'm not just sad. I'm upset. I'm disgruntled. I'm frustrated. I'm irritated. I'm lonely. Whatever. I'm done talking now.
All right. I have a few more questions for you. This was a wonderful conversation. So what impact do you want to make on the world? I know that now you're helping women to stand up, stand in their power, to stand in their own greatness. But what impact, if there was something that you could do for the world, what would that be?
That's such a great question. I want to be like Glenda, the Good Witch of the North.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I want to leave an impact like Glenda, the Good Witch of the North from The Wizard of Oz. And that she sees Dorothy, she sees other women, and men too, men for sure, who already have inside them what they need, they just don't know it. To help provide, to help them realize that they're the vessel, they're your source. Oh my God, you have it in you all the whole time. If I'm there to be a cheerleader and say, you know what, we got to go visit, because you're in a car, driving a car, right? You got the windshield, that's your past, your family, right? I'm looking behind, but if you keep looking behind, you're going to hit something. So you got the side view mirrors, right? Like, oh, that hit me upside the head. I didn't see that coming. Got to look over there again. But then you got this windshield, and there's so many places to go. What? They're so big. It's so big. You can go anywhere you want. And so knowing that you can handle your past, sometimes get hit up beside the head and on the side, and your future. Why? Because when you're driving, you're like that Dorothy. You can fill up your own gas tank. Glenda, I'm just there to help you tap into your vessel so that you can drive anywhere you want. You can fly anywhere you want in the world. And then possibly, like a mother chick, a mother bird, Glenda, you don't need me anymore. Like a mother bird, go fly. You're secure. You don't need me no more. You can come back for a tune-up. You need your car fixed? All right, we'll check it out. You need your teeth worked on? Just like a dentist needs a tune-up every now and then. And a mechanic needs a tune-up. Mental health practitioners need a tune-up. Daughters need tune-ups. Sons need tune-ups. And that's where you feel safe. And if I teach you how to pull upon your own resources, and you don't need me, you want me, that's the most validating comment or statement or feeling I could ever imagine for myself. And knowing that you matter because you're doing the same. My mission, my message, my legacy is to help women fill their own vessel and then fill up others from the overflow.
Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. Then fill up others through the overflow. I love that part. If you could attend your own funeral in 100 years.
Plan my funeral?
No, if you could attend your own funeral in 100 years, whenever. What would you like to hear people say about you?
Hmm. True, honest, real. I never felt alone. I never felt lonely when I was around her. I never felt lonely when I thought of her. Whenever I was alone, I never felt lonely. That when you're alone, you know that there's always someone with you, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I felt better about myself when she left the room. I felt better about myself when I thought of her. I was able to give to the world in a way that I never even known possible because of what she showed me, what she gave to me. And I feel okay about myself today because she showed me what it's like to do that. I treat myself better. I treat my children better. And I look at people and I tell them with my eyes that my world lights up because of you. And that I can see my soul because she opened up her own so that I could see mine through her.
Absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right. So my final question for you is: you've been through so much, right? You've had eating disorders. You've been to rehab. You've lost your child. You've been homeless, um,
Yeah.
and you were using education as a cover up for all
Oh,
of
don't
that.
forget the drugs and alcohol.
Right,
Yeah,
and you were a
right.
drunk and
Right.
alcoholic, and yeah, the list is almost
I'm going
endless.
to say, I know.
But right here, right now, you're here, you're
Yes,
smiling, you're
yes.
being a lighthouse for others. On Clubhouse, they love you on that place, right? You're an
Mhm.
inspiration, you're a lighthouse. You're there for other women. You empower people. You show courage and resilience. What do you do on a daily basis to ensure that you don't fall back into any of those old patterns that kept you in a dark place?
Such a good question. Okay, I was in a room earlier today, or was it yesterday? I forget. In Clubhouse, and the topic was on how you create not rituals per se. I forget the title of it, regardless. And there was a person who spoke about their morning ritual, and it was really regimented. I mean, like it was, and I remember what it was like to feel that way when I was in the grips of my friendship with Anna, and it was always about the numbers and perfecting and making this control, all about the control. And I remember feeling that way in this morning or whenever the moon rose, that way, that emphasis, heck, it has to be a certain way. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like when it was discussed, it was just like, that's normal. And then hearing it, what do I do every day? I don't do anything any day in particular. I don't have a specific, because I know what it's like to say the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Act of Contrition, and then the Holy Ghost, whatever. Every single morning, I had like even just something as simple as that, and it wasn't, regardless if it's religion, but just having to have it just so. The thing I do every day is I as well as I can, I communicate gratitude and um, stay in the moment, own where I'm at, own my stuff. Because within the last one is an hour and a half, is it an hour and a half, an hour 15 minutes, whatever. I've gone through a number of, and just ride the wave, baby. And I guess those are two. So let's just say it two. You said one. Overachiever here. Got to do.
So you make the best out of whatever is happening.
Yeah,
That's it.
I stay in the present as much as I can, and I really check myself. I would say just be attuned. See, it's not like a hard and fast thing. It's just there's a state now where it's a flow. It's not even about any of that stuff that's happened. It's not about one thing. It's the one thing is just being in the day, and it's a reminder throughout the day. It's not like something I have to have memorized. It's like when I start to get in a place where how long am I going to stay in this crap? Do I want to sit here for 3 weeks? No. 3 days? No. For 3 hours? All right, I'll wallow for a bit and get over it. And it's hard to say because nothing. The one thing that we have is change. That's the thing we can count on, and I can't change. I can't change. It's gonna happen. I never thought about that before either. Just like that, you can't change, and just ride with it. Just that's the constant. What's the one thing I do? Ride the wave. Like Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right.
I love that. I love that. Hi, Nina. Welcome back. We're wrapping
Hi.
up. So, Dr. Lara, it was an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for having the courage to share your story. I mean, the fact that you've been through all you've been through and you're able to smile is why I love this show. And I tell people it's the high point of my week, right? Coming here and talking to people, hearing their stories, hearing them share how they got from point A to point B and what they had to go through to get there. It makes me hopeful, and just knowing that it's going to help somebody else shines light on this whole thing we call life. So thank you for being open and vulnerable, even though it was challenging. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here with us this evening. It was an absolute pleasure having you. I love your energy. I love your spirit. I love what you stand for. So continue to shine, baby.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Bright like a diamond. Okay, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Oh, I want to give, if you're on here, and if you saw the first part of this is my book. It's called An Introduction to Freedom, and I'm giving away a chapter of this book for free. Just one chapter, right? So it's all about healing and
I'll take that.
Mental freedom.
I'll pay for the whole thing. I'll pay for the mental freedom.
Yeah, so one chapter is on gratitude. It teaches you how to be grateful. Another chapter is on forgiveness. One chapter will help you to resolve that not enoughness that we spoke about earlier today. And then the final chapter is about awareness of ourselves and the environment and everything around us. So you can send me a DM and I'll send you the form and you choose the chapter that you want. I gave it to you in the order that they are, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So just choose the chapter that you want and I will send that to you via email. One chapter, whichever chapter you think will best serve you. It's a workbook. It's not a read book and put down. It's a book that will help, because the idea behind the book is it should help you to make change. It should not just plant a thought in your head and then you're going to say, how do I do this? It should help you to create the change that it's talking about. So it's a workbook. So if you diligently sit down and work through the book, it should bring you some change. So just drop me a DM and I will send you the form. You fill it out and get the chapter of your choice. So that's it for today's show, guys. Thank you once more for being here with us today. I truly, truly love being here. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. I love it. I enjoy it. And thank you guys for joining. Nina, it was lovely seeing you today. I know you're doing great. So
Hi, Robbie. Oh, shit. Robbie is here.
Hi, Rabia. Dr.
She's at the replay. She's amazing. Robbie's amazing.
Until next week, guys, if you're not following me, I am here every single Thursday, and I have so many more phenomenal stories to come. So if you're not following me, follow me and be a part of the conversations. Learn how you can heal, how you can transform, how you can grow. Until next Thursday, have yourself a beautiful rest of the week. Bye.
Bye.